Arsenal 2, Olympiacos 0, Man City 2, Monaco 2. They collapse at the end. They bottle it away. A whole year since an away win in the Champions League for Manchester City. Loads to talk about, loads to delve into on the Full Fan Highlight Show. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in, whether you're a regular on the terrace, whether you've come across from That's Football. It's fantastic to see you here with us. We're going to open up the lines later. We're going to put the link out for you to phone in and have your say on the big Champions League games. Plus, you can see all the different results up on the screen right now. It was another mega night in the Champions League as well. I'm not even sure of all the other full-time results here, but Napoli won 2-1 in the end of the day tonight. Who got the winner for them? Oh, it was Rasmus. It was Rasmus. Do you know what? Fair play to that young man. Fair play to that young man. A lot of people said a lot of stupid things about him, probably including myself on some nights as well, but fair play to him. PSG beating Barcelona as well. Absolutely huge. Big night for Newcastle earlier on, 4-0 victors away from home. I think their biggest victory ever in Champions League history as well. So loads for us to go through, loads for us to talk about tonight. Thank you very much, by the way, to Luke Skywalker, encouraging everybody out there to hit that like button. Very, very important to us indeed that you get that done. You get that like button smashed. If you could be so kind, that would be amazing. But I'm going to start tonight with Arsenal because Terry Amorim forced out Rasmus for no reason at all. Like, I'm not even getting into those conversations tonight. Do you know what I find really funny, though? Listen, I thought Rasmus had to leave Manchester United. I felt that his confidence was so shattered, I didn't think he'd bring it back. But I never took away what I said year one, that man, if we created chances for him, he would score goals, and we didn't create enough. And it is kind of ironic. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not with the Amorim outers, the diehard Amorim outers. When you do your research into most of them, they're the same people that said Rashford's dead, McTominay's dead, Rasmus is dead. There's nothing about them, awful footballers. And they're the ones that seem to leave and do okay after leaving Manchester United. It's most of the footballers they back who leave and do absolutely nothing. So it's why it's hard for me to side with those individuals. It really, really is. But less on that. More to the teams that played tonight. We're going to have a nice panel for you later in the show as well. So looking forward to speaking to them. But big up to everyone who's tuned in on the show tonight. It's great to see so many of you here. It really, really is. And Mike here with the super chat who says loads of chance creation past 2 games, #handbrake. And that's where I'm going to start when it comes to Arsenal, because Arsenal's depth is absolutely ridiculous. I have to say that now. Their depth is ridiculous. 6 changes from the Newcastle team and still a massively dominant performance. Now, I'll start off the bat because I know it will trigger certain people if you don't say it. Yes, the game got nervy towards the end. The simple reason, the only element of tonight's game I'm criticizing when it comes to Arsenal is the lack of clinical edge in that final third. Gyokeres, I think, should have scored a goal in the first half. Trossard in the second half should be scoring 2 minutes in, 3 minutes into the restart. About the 55th, 60th minute, should be making it 2-0. They just kept Olympiacos in the game. That's the only element I would criticize tonight. It's the only element that I think Mikel Arteta will be drumming into his players is kill these games off. But there is a gargantuan, a Kim Kardashian-esque peak Jennifer Lopez butt that we've got to talk about here. 6 changes. 6 changes. And still young starlets like Dalman and Winery not getting onto the pitch. And Arsenal were able to dominate and be so superior in nearly every single portion of that game. That squad depth is ridiculous now. I looked at the bench. Last season, if Arsenal made 6 changes and had a brand new signing in Henke and their main striker, one of their main strikers last season injured in Kai Havertz, and I might be forgetting about somebody, that bench might have looked strong, but the starting lineup would have been very, very weak indeed. And it wasn't tonight. And there's a player I want to start off by talking about this evening, and it was Martin Odegaard. Gets a lot of criticism, and sometimes I think it has been absolutely thoroughly deserved. Sometimes he's been very poor in games. Now, when you look at a lot of the team sheets tonight, they'll show Arsenal playing their 4-3-3. But if you actually watch what Arsenal were doing, is Zubimendi and Moreno were sitting in the 2, and for large parts of the game, Odegaard was central. Doesn't mean he didn't drift. It doesn't mean he didn't touch the ball in other areas. But Odegaard tonight was dropping not so deep as he normally does. He was still shifting more to the right-hand side in the first half and quite a bit to the left-hand side in the second half. But it was very central. So it was more of a 4-2-3-1 than it was a 4-3-3 for me. And Odegaard was just out of this world. He was picking that ball up, and some of his passing tonight, whether it was to get a move going or whether it was to put players in, it was out of this world. It was a clinic. It was a masterclass, and had the finishing of the Trossards, the Gyokereses tonight been on point, the man could have walked away with 2 assists minimum. 2 assists minimum from today's game. I know he got one at the end. Probably one of his more simplistic and simple passes of the night. But I thought Odegaard tonight was brilliant, and there's something that's generating this. It won a slight tweak to the system, a slight adjustment. All right, guys, I don't want you being so far out on the right tonight, Odegaard, where you're linking up with Martinelli the whole time. I want you to be in the middle. I want you to drift left. I want you to drift right, but only right and left to center. And I want you to pick that ball up, 1 touch or 2, and I want you to whip that ball out to whichever flank is now open. So it was almost, Arsenal play a lot of the horseshoe shape and they go side to side, which, by the way, is very typical in football. But what they did tonight is they sped that process up. It would get to Odegaard, and rather than it going into Odegaard, and Odegaard says, right, okay, there you go, Martinelli, Gyokeres, back to Odegaard, back to Zubimendi, back to Odegaard, and then a switch. It was into Odegaard, he'd drop a shoulder and bang, straight out to Miles Lewis-Skelly, straight out to Moreno, straight out to Trossard, and Olympiacos couldn't handle it. And I would say the only element tonight, when you look at the stats, it will say 16 shots to 10, and you'll think, oh, close game. It wasn't. If we're being absolutely honest, Olympiacos had a couple of moments where they looked a little dangerous. And there was a couple of good saves made by Raya. One first half, one header near the end of the game, which I thought was going wide anyway, but it needed to be touched. Arsenal's biggest problem was that final ball or the finishing touch. So I wonder what that noise was. Don't know what that noise is. Somebody must be doing something in my house. I didn't know what that noise was. I thought, what's that noise? I thought it was a fan on my PlayStation came on. I was like, well, how can it? It's not even plugged in. No electric. Anyway, they sped that process up. The issue that they had is that it was just that final ball. And I felt like Trossard tonight, it was almost like he was playing for Olympiacos. And it's surprising because he can be quite clinical. But it was, whether it was a final ball being overhit, there was one moment in the second half where the ball gets played out. Great play by Arsenal. And this happened on a number of occasions. Great play. The ball ends up out wide. The ball's dinked. All it needs is a nice dink ball to that back, either centrally for Gyokeres or to the back post for Martinelli, and it's overhit. So you won't see Arsenal with lots of shots today. And that's the area to criticize. That final ball or the conversion rate being too low with some of the really good chances they had. But don't let anybody fool you into thinking that Arsenal were not the better team. And had that second goal they scored by Saka have come in the 35th minute, had it have come in the 50th minute, and they'd have managed the game out, those nerves wouldn't have come with 2 goals, by the way. Nobody would be talking about anything. It's right to criticize the lack of clinical edge, but overall, Arsenal tonight were brilliant. And as I've already stated, bringing on Mosquera when there was there's an injury for Gabriel, let's see how bad it is, but being able to bring him on, being able to start someone as good as Ben White and then bring on Timber, being able to bring on a Declan Rice, bring on an Eze, bring on a Saka. And maybe if the guys were more clinical, some of these players wouldn't have come on. So maybe Arteta would have preferred that. Maybe he wanted to give some of the kids a run out. But that's Champions League football for you. And Olympiacos, they don't have a great away record. I don't think they've won 1 in 10. But let's not pretend that every player out there on the pitch for Olympiacos is an absolute bum, hasn't played at the high. I mean, they're playing at the highest level, but hasn't played at higher levels. And when it stays at 1-0, there's always that danger in the Champions League of something going wrong. But Arsenal, again, I thought showed good mental strength as well tonight. They were able to essentially not allow, because you could feel the nerves in the crowd. And I'm watching it through here. And I messaged Goldbridge actually during the game. And I was like, do you think Arsenal are going to fuck this? Because it did have that feel. And it's happened a couple of times in the last few years to Arsenal, Premier League and Champions League, when at the Emirates, when the crowd gets nervy, when the noise drops, when the whistling starts, sometimes their team crumbles. And I've always felt this about this Arsenal side. They do better when the support's up. And I get it's a bit of a, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. They need their players to be performing for them to be up as well. But I thought the players did really well to see it out, because this could have ended up being what Man City have gone through. Now they're away from home, so a little different, but where you're the best team, you're a goal up, you should be seeing the game out, but then you walk away with 1 point and not 3. And you want to be in the top 8 of this Champions League group stage. You want to be in the top 8. And more importantly, you want to try and be up near the top like Arsenal were last year, because you want those second legs at the Emirates Stadium, at Anfield, at the Camp Nou, whichever team you are. And also when you're playing some of the quote unquote lesser teams, easier teams early, you need to get those 3 points. Because when you look at the run, for instance, with Man City, obviously they won their first game, unless I'm absolutely mistaken. But you kind of look at Monaco and think that's a game they probably should be, they should be winning. Yeah, they did win their first one against Napoli. But then they go away to Villarreal, then they play Dortmund, then they play Leverkusen, then they're away to Madrid. And you start looking at the next block of games and they move up a level. And you're okay, well, you slip up in a couple of them and maybe you've got to play those extra 2 games later in the season. We had no idea last year the way the league phase was going to work. We now do. Every goal, every point is so important, because it potentially makes the draw later on down the line easier for you. And it's the first time really in Champions League history they've done this. And I've always felt they should. Like the best few teams in the league phase will play the second leg at home. I always think there's an advantage with that by and large. If imagine Arsenal were taking the 1 goal deficit, was it 2 goals? 1 or 2 goals? Imagine they were taking that deficit against PSG to the Emirates. Could it have been a different game as an example? Potentially, it could have been. Maybe not, but potentially it could have been different. Would Liverpool, if Liverpool got beat 3-0, 4-0 at Anfield by Barcelona, would they have been able to go to the Camp Nou and pull off that comeback? Probably not. So when Barcelona came back from being far, I reckon if you went and weighed it up, most teams, I'd love to see the percentage of teams that are home second leg versus the teams away in the second leg. And you've got to compare like for like teams. You can't be comparing. I'm not talking about, it's a slight advantage, but if Bodo Glimt get to the knockout stages and they're home in the second leg against Real Madrid, it's a slight leveler, but it isn't. When you're talking about the big teams playing each other, I'd love to see the percentage of the home team in the second leg qualification rate versus the other way around. I'd love to see the numbers on that. I'd love to see the numbers. I bet it's at least 60%, if not higher, in favor of the home team in the second leg. So I think you should be fighting for it. And Arsenal have had a great start. It's 2 wins from 2 clean sheets, some nervy moments they had to get through tonight. And as I've already stated, the only real feedback I'd give Arsenal tonight that was I would think Arsenal fans would be disappointed with, Aloni like me, would be disappointed. I know that would trigger the right people. That's why I said it. I'm very sorry. The only thing I'd really push back on and say needs to be better, that final ball at times and that finishing touch, because Trossard mainly should have put them a couple of goals ahead, and it could have been an absolute runaway score in the end. But Odegaard, fantastic. And I'll repeat it again. The squad depth for Arsenal is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hit that like button, please. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Get that done now. Let's talk Man City as well, because I'll be honest with you. I'm going to have to speak to the City fans when they come. Oh, there's none backstage. Bloody hell, City fans. I did have the game on, but I wasn't watching it, if that makes sense, because I had Barcelona PSG on. I had the Arsenal game on, and it was there. And Haaland was great tonight. Haaland was absolutely fantastic. Haaland was amazing. 2 excellent goals from him again. His goal scoring record in the Champions League is absolutely ridiculous. And I know they conceded an equalizer and it was a screamer. Donnarumma can do nothing about it. And the rest of the game looked so comfortable. It looked so easy. It just looked like a walk in the park. You don't even need to look at the statistics. If I said 65% possession, I think I'm lying. It's going to be higher, well over 65, going to be in the 70 mark. They had most of the shots. They had most of the shots on target. They had XG. They hit the post twice in the game. It was just simple. And then right at the end of the game, it was a penalty, by the way, especially in Europe. High boot. I'm not too sure who it was with the high boot. I want to say that it was Reinders, but it might have been a defender. I don't know now. And boots Eric Dyer, of all people, in the face. Penalty. And I've got to say, up against maybe the best penalty goalkeeper, and Nico Gonzalez. Thank you. That's the bit I then started watching because I watched the whole hullabaloo. People on the bench were being sent off. Watch the replay, penalty. You've got the best goalkeeper in the world at saving penalties. And you've got Eric Dyer. Now, I know Eric Dyer scored maybe the most famous penalty in my lifetime. That was a winning penalty in an England penalty shootout. I hadn't seen one in my whole life, by the way, until Dyer did that. But I just thought, surely Monaco have got a better, more technically gifted player than Dyer to take a penalty. But I gotta say, I'm not wearing a hat, but I'm gonna put one on, right? Because I gotta take my hat off to that man. I've got to. What a penalty. Sent Donnarumma, buried. If he goes the right way, even with those long orangutan arms, he ain't saving it. Bang. 2-2. Big points dropped. Bottled it. In the end, City bottled it. And they've done that on a couple of times this season. And look, they've had a last few weeks have been a lot better. You know, since the loss to Brighton, they beat United, they beat Napoli, but they went down to 10 men very early. Drew with Arsenal. Huddersfield they beat, yes. They smashed Burnley, which we expected. And this draw. A lot of people have told me they've turned it around, Terry. You should put them in the same breath as Liverpool and Arsenal this season. They're just a step below that for me. And tonight was the second time in just over a month where they've been in the lead, they're cruising, and have let a game slip between their fingers. They did that a lot last year in that 13-game run with only one win. They're better than that. They've improved. But I still feel they're a level down. I still feel they're a level below that in terms of winning Champions Leagues, winning Premier Leagues at this particular juncture, right now in this moment. But I'd love to know what you think. I'd love to know what you feel about it. Let us know in the comments section below, please, people. RJ here says, Terry, Arsenal are scary. The squad depth is. If you're ignoring it, I think you're being a fool. Let's jump to your super chats here. Cal here, big up Cal, who's backstage actually coming on. He says Liverpool could use a player like Odegaard. Odegaard tonight was ridiculous. Do you know what I find interesting about Odegaard? He's one of the very few players who passes the eye test, who the eye test merchants don't like. And I don't quite get it. He's like this weird anomaly. Does that make sense? He's kind of everything they should love, but they don't. But that's just it. Nomad says, loving Martinelli more for making sure the ball doesn't go in before he scores. This is what you call a team. Do you know what's really funny? Like, I do get you. He didn't want to steal the goal. But I did think as well, imagine if they hit the post but didn't bounce there and the goalkeeper and the defender clears it. Because the ball was spinning. It could have gone anywhere. But I get why he wanted to see. He didn't want to steal someone's goal, and that's probably the right thing to do, maybe. But yeah, listen, I thought Martinelli had a decent game again. The header right at the start, he should have buried it. People forget about that chance as well. I did. Should have buried that. I thought he had a decent game. I still think, what I was thinking watching the game, though, I know you had Dalman that can maybe do it, and I know Saka came on, but I felt you actually needed his pace from the bench again, because I was looking at Trossard and he was just struggling to beat his man, and Saka obviously can come on and do that, but I was thinking the way they were playing, this would be an ideal time to bring Martinelli on, because they were pushing further forward for an equalizer. But yeah, he had a good game today. He had a good game. It's funny how the Gooners try to mock us tonight, even though they should celebrate their win. We live rent-free in their heads. Loser mentality is what Messiah says here. Calling out you Gooners here live on the Football Terrace. Only 6 out of 36 teams are on 100% records after 2 games. Arsenal, another clean sheet, comfortable win. 3 games in a row. In added time. Come on, you Gooners. Well, it wasn't a winner tonight. It was a clincher, but But I hear you. But yeah, look, very, very, very good start. And the league table, as you can see right now, let me just actually pause it while I'm talking. The league table is actually up on the screen, as you guys can see it. And look, it is still early days, and there is still a long way. There is still a long way to go. There's no doubt about it. But look at that now. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Inter, Arsenal, Karabakh are up there as well, actually. Fair. There's always a team like last year. Remember Brest last year doing it. City's not a bad start, but it's always nice to be in that upper echelon. It always just, you win your next one, you win a couple more. Last year, like 16 points was enough to get you in the top 8. You're already sort of 40% of the way there. A couple more wins, and you're practically over the line early. Very, very important indeed. So, yeah, an excellent start to the Champions League for Arsenal. I don't think there's much to scoff at in terms of the overall situation. Personally, that's just my view, but I'm not everyone, so people might see it differently. Let's have a little look here. Barca couldn't do what Chelsea did in the summer. PSG owns these guys. All their first team attackers didn't even play. Hansi Flick and his Ange defending. I will say, I was sitting here screaming it during that game because I thought they started very well, Barcelona, moving the ball brilliantly. But I felt PSG were playing into their hands a little bit. They weren't trying to exploit the high line, and they weren't close enough to Pedri. And he was running the show. I thought Barca's goal was excellent. They pressed, won the ball back. Lovely ball into Rashford. Great pass from Rashi. Sets the goal up. But then something changed. Maybe they spotted it. Maybe Luis Enrique pointed it out. It was just, when I was a kid, this is why a lot of really fast, strong kids in England weren't being developed into technically good football players. In my brother's year, was 2 years above me at school. Their football team, their school football team, Norton Boys, was one of the best in the country. They won the Essex Cup, and then they played the national trophy, and they went on to win that. They were just ridiculously good football team. At least 50, 60% all went to play for academies. There was a striker in that team called Ashley White. Big up Ashley if you're watching. He's part of a big garage crew, more fire crew. Big up yourself, bruv. I don't know if he still does that now. We're in our 40s, but he used to. Killed it in the music industry. This guy used to be able to run 100 meters so fast in just normal trainers. Remember, we're all from East London. No one's got any money. We went to this district track and field event, and he had all the rich kids there in their spikes and stuff. And there he was with an old pair of Reebok Classics, and he smoked everyone. But the tactic, the reason I bring that up, there's a story coming. There's relevance to this. Barcelona enable you to do what Norton Boys team did with Ashley White. It was knock it over the top and he'll just beat everybody to it. He was so fast. Nobody could keep up with him. He was just that much faster than everybody else. It was just a tactic. It was wait till he made a run, bang, bang, bang. You can do that to Barcelona all day. If you've got pace, you can just knock the ball over the top. And listen, I'm not slagging off Hansi Flick. He's an amazing manager. Barca play beautiful football. But I do think at the highest level of the game, when you're in those big Champions League games, teams are going to pick you off. Teams are really going to pick you off doing that. And they did that tonight. They've got to look at that. No doubt about it. No doubt. Haaland only 4 goals behind Ruud. Redemption season. Listen, I said it before. I'll say it again. Erling Haaland's the greatest goal scorer I think Europe have ever produced. Ever. Unlike us, they are playing to his strength about Rasmus. And when you've got KDB, he'll put the ball into those spots consistently. The second goal, a lot of strikers aren't going in that spot with keepers coming to punch. Look, on Rasmus, because you've super chatted, I'll talk about it. I don't take back anything I've ever said, barring maybe when I was angry. I don't remember what I said. But by and large, year 1, we didn't supply him enough. Year 2, we still didn't supply him enough, but he was awful on the ball. He stopped making the right runs. His first touch he couldn't hold up the play. But he'd lost his head, and I felt that he had to go. I felt he had to go and recover. But I'm really happy to see him doing well. I was never this believer in him being this absolute. I might have said it on some match reactions when I was angry. Oh, you're dead. You finished. Of course, I probably said that when I was angry. But whenever I was calm on shows talking, I never felt it was completely trash, awful. I also said when he was leaving, I wouldn't be surprised if at Napoli he starts to shine. Now, do I think he's ever going to be Erling Haaland or Harry Kane? No. But is he a competent, decent top-level striker. Yes, I think he is a player that can do it. And I said that when he joined United, I could see it in him. And we, like we do with most signings, pushed it out of him. And then, of course, as fans, and I'll say we as a collective, some did, some didn't. You know, you put that pressure and they crumble and they keep going in, and we didn't help. All of us. So I'm not surprised. Well, fair play to him. Happy for him. Happy for him. City looked awful defensively. Ruined my bet. I hope this run continues with Arsenal, though. We should, and I mean should, have at least 4 wins. Look, with City have become a team that when they're dominating the ball, they can be counter-attacked against. That's why when they played against Arsenal, they didn't try and attack them, because Arsenal would have ripped them limb from limb, and they were very smart to do it. Absolutely. But on your Arsenal point, I don't see why this will stop for Arsenal. West Ham next. I think it's a bit of a redemption game. Lost to them the last 2 seasons at home, beat them, go into the international break, maybe top, depending on what Chelsea and Liverpool do this weekend. And it'd be crazy if Arsenal did go into the international break top. When it's only 3 games ago, there were Arsenal fans coming on this show saying the season feels over. I remember sitting there thinking, and maybe it's because my team's so bad, and I felt like it was such a first world moan. You know, it's like me and Mo on Straight Facts, and struggling to put food on the table and pay the electric bills, and Sam saying, "Oh, I know, my swimming pool isn't as hot as I normally like it." That's how I felt the moaning was. You know what I'm saying? Could only have smoked salmon 3 times a week now, rather than 5 times a week for breakfast. That's how I felt. By the way, Mo's the richest of all of us, to be fair. So I want to put that out there just so you will know. Judge Mo. Judge Moolah. No, I don't know that. I'm just making it up. It's a laugh. He had a really nice watch on when I met him face to face, though. And because he's not the tallest man in the world, no disrespect. And the watch, it was like he was carrying Big Ben around. Do you know what I mean? Although Big Ben is actually a bell. Just a little bit of education. Everyone thinks Big Ben is the clock. It isn't. Big Ben is the actual bell inside. Just some knowledge on my country in case you care. What's amazing about the depth is players who are out injured. Havertz, Henkepe, Madueke. I forgot about Madueke as well. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The depth is very, very good indeed. Very, very good indeed. Look at the quarterfinals only. Looked at the quarterfinals only. What do you mean, bro? Oh, hang on. The answer to your comeback question is 9 overturns in total. In those times, 7 were completed at home and 2 were completed on the road. Spurs and PSG versus Barca. Or just on comebacks alone, you see that 7 to 9 in that period tells you it. I'd love to know. I'm sure if someone uses the full chat GTP or another AI, I bet you could do like a deep research on it and get the answer in about 10 minutes of, I don't know how to word the question right, but essentially of all the teams that qualify from, say, quarterfinals and semi-finals to the next round of the Champions League, how many do it with the second leg at home versus how many do it with the second leg away? I'd love to see a percentage. You've definitely got, I just think it's going to be a bigger percentage for the home team. But thank you very much for checking it out for me, bro. Tevin here says, Madueke, Henkepe, Havertz, and Jesus still to come. I'm not going to lie, bro. It makes me feel a bit sick, bro. I feel a bit sick. I forgot. I'm on loan, though. I'm on loan. I can't wait for our boys to come back, man. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I was actually watching Declan Rice today and seeing him talk about, like, Max Dowman. I don't know if you guys saw it. He's talking about Max Dowman. And I'm listening to him. And I was so jealous. I was like, I can't wait to listen to my players talk about internal anecdotal things and go, I love my club. Because I hate my football club right now so much. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Odie is back. Hope no more open play XG from Hussam. What I will say is this as well. One of the reasons why I do think Odegaard's performing better, Martinelli's performing better, competition. And the last thing I'll say before I bring the panel out to it, because the show becomes theirs in a moment. If I ever, and I do mean this aggressively, this is very, very much aggression coming out of me now. If I ever hear another football fan say, but what about the pathway? What about the development? I want my moderators to ban them. Fuck them idiots. This is what happens when you have competition. Still sharpens steel. If they ain't good enough, They won't handle it. Move them on. Simple as that. Lo and behold, 2 players that were fading are getting better now they have competition. Who knew? Real football people. This year, I am the same as you about him. But like you said, you know how the people, Baller FC said, nobody wants to have all of a sudden succeed. Scott, Marcus, Rasmus. Meanwhile, their boys are playing where again? This is one thing me and Neek's talking about in the group chat earlier. It's the one thing about some of the real diehard Amrim outers when it comes to like their view of the overall game. I'm like, these are the guys who all said that Donny van der Beek's better than Bruno. They all said that Scott was awful and his career would fall away. They all said that Rashford was dead. No top team would ever want him. You actually look at the numbers. Again, just percentages, just facts. The passion merchants versus the baller guys at United. Most of the baller guys what have they done? Sancho, to be fair, had a very good 6 months at Dortmund. Outside of that, genuinely, I've told people before, the eye test merchants, maybe they're a different type of merchant. Maybe they're merchant bankers. I don't know. You tell me. Listen, hit that like button, please, people. I'm going to bring the panel out now to have their say. We've got Judge Mo with us. Got Brandon. We've got Cal. We've got Souls. We've got Egal. We've got Ash. We've got Anton. We've got Trimless. Big panel on the show tonight. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us here. Really appreciate it on this fine Wednesday evening. Big win for us tonight, boys. Big up. Big up. I'm
loving it. We have an option to make that loan permanent.
No, I can't do it. It's funny because I said it on a few shows now. People are like, Terry, you said it was a disgrace if anybody actually ever did that. It's like, no, it's called a joke. It's like some people still think my show Straight Facts is because we're all talking facts. It's like, no, it's a dig at people who think opinions are facts. I still
talk about yourself.
Wow, Mo, we've heard you on there. Do you know what I mean?
What about the people who get mad about the Done Deal show too?
Oh, they're my favorite. Yeah. You got to change the name. Why? Because it's not everything you talk about is a done deal. It don't matter, does it? Do you know what I mean? Super Sunday, sometimes shit, but it's still called Super Sunday. Like, it's just honestly, it's crap.
Hey, can I go first? I kind of gotta go. I was gonna say, honestly, guys, can we have a conversation about David Raya? Because I feel like I know this is not the game.
Spot on.
I know this is not the game. I know this is not the game where he's taking 20 shots, but every time he plays, I feel like this guy is one of the best in the world. I feel like he's one of the best in the world. I'm looking around. I'm saying to myself, is there 5 better keepers than David Raya in the world right now? Because it seems like every single time there's a little bit of pressure or a team even gets a sniff on our goal, and Saliba and Gabriel are not there to get to sort it out. David Raya just makes an unbelievable save.
Egal, someone told me this morning that they think Donnarumma is miles ahead of him.
I think that right now,
they were by the way, they were serious about it. I swear to God, they were serious about that take.
I think right now you could make a case that for the last 3 years he's been the best keeper in the Premier League, even though Alisson is great, and you could make the case that he's top 3 in the world right now. We could talk about Neuer's, we could talk about Courtois, we could talk about Alisson's, we could talk about all these guys, but who has shown the level of consistency that David Raya has shown over the last 2 seasons and done it consistently in the Champions League and in the Premier League? Now, we can talk about how great these guys are and they've won trophies, and until they win trophies, nobody's going to rate them. But in a game where we win 2-0, I'm looking around and I'm saying to myself, the reason why we win 2-0 in this game is not because, we were bopping them off the pitch and we were looking so good. It's because David Raya comes up with clutch saves in moments where you think the ball's in the back of the net. It's 1-0 or it's 1-1. And I just want to start off with him because he doesn't get enough praise. I feel like everybody else in this Arsenal team gets some praise, but we shy away from it. If we're talking about Saliba and Gabriel and we're talking about Declan Rice and Saka as world class, or even Timber, in my opinion, David Raya is another one of those guys who should be in that conversation amongst his peers, because he's been there for the last couple of years.
I think there's a little bit of a myth that it's because of Gabriel and Saliba that Raya's why he's getting the golden boots and stuff, but it's just not true. I mean, we could have conceded 2 goals today out of nothing, and he's the guy that saved us. So yeah, you're 100% correct on that.
Saved my bet as well. I needed that clean sheet.
And also, I don't know if Terry wants to,
I like that Trimless. Yeah.
Terry, I don't know if you want me to mention too many topics, but the next thing is the bench.
We can go to that. I was just going to say, like, just anyone else got anything to add on Raya whilst we're on it, rather than like jumping back and forth from.
He should be
topic.
starting for Spain and the Spanish Federation.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely should be starting for Spain. Who the guy from Bilbao starts for Spain? Like,
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Look, my main talking point when I was going to come out, because we'll get onto the game in itself in a minute, but the bench stroke, the squad depth now, Egal. Did you really see that come alive tonight?
Terry, we have the luxury of bringing on Martin Odegaard versus Newcastle, and today have the luxury of bringing on Eberici as a Timber and what do you call it, Saka, to help us win the game. Our squad depth is not only next level. We actually have a team that we can no longer sit here and say we're not one of the best teams out there. I look around and I see quality, not only starting, but it raises the levels of everybody else. And Martin Odegaard today looks like a man possessed because he's seeing guys behind him trying to take his spot. And he's showing people why he's the captain. And also Martinelli doing what he does, showing people why he still wants to be part of this team. The only person who I question at times is, are the starters as hungry as the people coming off the bench? Because it seems like the person who comes off the bench in that game always tends to have a chip on their shoulder more than the person who starts. I'm hinting at Trossard, by the way, in case you guys are wondering, because when he starts, he looks like he can make more mistakes when he starts. But I have no doubt in my mind, if Trossard was coming off the bench today, he would have smacked a goal in today. He was the only person who was making mistakes out there.
The thing about Trossard is that we know that he's not a starting quality. Like, we know this. We know what Trossard is. Like, he's a super sub, you know? And the great part about today is that we know that we don't have to rely on him for the season. That's why we were kind of not good last season as well. We had to rely on Trossard being a starter, but he isn't. He's just a guy to, you know, come and so we can rest our starters and he can be a super sub. That's his role. You know, he was pissing me off today, but I don't need to get too mad because he's not the guy for Arsenal at the moment.
Also, I just wanted to say one more thing, Terry.
Yeah,
you know, when people say no excuses, this is what a team with no excuses looks like. We have so much quality that I have no worries. Literally, if one of our players gets injured or if one of our players misses a little bit of time, I just feel like, you know what, next person up. That's the mentality right now, and I love it.
Gal, I've got a question for you, actually. Do you think that Arsenal is the team that everyone thinks that Liverpool is? The team that is yet to really get out of first gear and has so much more to go, where I just feel like, I don't know. What do you think, Go?
You're trying to put me on the spot. Listen, I agree with you. I think right now, everyone said Liverpool had the best transfer window. I disagree. I think we solved more of our issues than they did. And it's early in the season. I don't want to be reactionary, but right now, I think we have a better squad than them, which is proof by how we've been using our squad. I think we have a better defense than them, which has shown. And I do think the only thing Liverpool probably have over us is they still have world-class attackers who we haven't shown that we have yet. So until our attackers perform at a world-class level, people are still going to count Liverpool as a better team.
I hear that. I've got a question when I throw this to Gunnar Souls. I want you to break down for me how good Martin Odegaard was tonight on the pitch.
Oh, that's my guy. That's my client. I will back him to the hills and back. But you know what it is? And this is why I kept saying it. Even for the last 18 months, I've got pelters. Egal knows this as well because we've had many shows and he knows I back this guy. And I said, he will come good. And yes, he's had a bad start. And even I've criticized him. I think there's a lot, obviously, in his personal life going on. Good things, obviously. He had a child, got married, all of this sort of stuff. And sometimes, you know what? You can become a little bit complacent in your professional life and things just get on top of you. And I think that's kind of what it was. But this is why competition is absolutely needed. And, you know, he saw the likes of Eze coming in. He saw, okay, now there's Andrea Berta in the boardroom who's not going to care about your personal feelings. And, you know, if you're not going to do the job on the pitch, we're going to get a guy who can come in and do it. And the thing is, it's not even just about Martin Odegaard. I think there's a step up in his career because Arteta has gone there and told him that as well. Arteta's sitting there and going, if you're not going to perform, I know you're my captain, but Eze is going to come in and play, or, you know, Ethan's going to come in and play, or whoever the 10 may be is going to come in and play. And I think that's what's also making him realize that he needs to step up and be a lot more consistent. The quality has always been there. I've always said he's one of the best 10s in the world in terms of the potential and in terms of quality he's shown, but he's not shown it consistently. And what we've asked for is, if you're going to be the captain, you're going to come out and say, this is my team, this is my squad, this is the guy that is going to lead the team out of the, the tunnel and, you know, everything of that nature, then you need to go out there and perform to that level. You need to be, show, like, lead by example, not just by the talk, not by the press conference, not by, rallying up the crowd and putting the hair flicks and let's get the crowd up. No. We don't want any of those gimmicks. We want you to go out there and do what you did against Newcastle, turn the head on its game. That's what we want. We want you to go there and go, this is my moment. This is me. And Eddie Howe had to come out and say, when he came on, the game changed. That's what we want. We want the rival manager or the opposition manager to come out and go, that captain of theirs is the reason they won the game. And that's what a captain is. We've seen it multiple times. Van Dijk has gotten Liverpool out of so many situations, but Odegaard hasn't. Odegaard is the guy that when we talk about him, a lot of the criticism comes to when he's away from home, he seems to be a lightweight. He seems to be a passenger. He seems to be carried by the team. But so far in these sort of 2 games, and it's early signs, but if this is the signs of a buzz cut Odegaard, mate, just send him to the army, let him shave their head every single time. Just keep doing it. It's the same concept of send him to Dubai if we need to. He just needs to keep shaving his head, forget all of this. And that's kind of the reality of it, man. Like, look at the balls he was playing. Look at the confidence, the flair, the charisma he was playing with. And that's what we want from Odegaard. And I think there may be an element of Arteta actually going, do you know what? There might be players in this team that just need to be given freedom, because we are seeing many different styles from Arteta this season. Some we've disagreed with, some we agree with, some, we've asked him to do, where we've asked him to play Eze in the 10 instead of Marino. We've asked him to do X, Y, and Z. But in the 2 games, I can't criticize him. And I think this is the levels he needs to be showing on a much more consistent basis. And he'll get that support back. I've not lost faith in him, but I can understand why people have. And this is why. And I can see this. And I'm just hoping this is a sign.
Can I get involved and just say something that people might
absolutely
not like?
Not more.
People might not like. Martin, am I allowed souls or?
Absolutely not.
Martin Odegaard last season, I said that Arteta was not using him well. The system was not helping him. He was dropping deep, getting the ball from Saliba and Gabriel. You saw him today higher on the pitch. You see him playing these passes behind. Here is what I think. Last season, I sat in a lot of panels and I kind of defended Odegaard. I said the talent is undeniable. He cannot be top of the charts in creating chances, but the form drop and the captain armband maybe put a weight on him, like more than what it is with the pressure. But here is my question. People like, I'm going to call out like Sam and Liverpool fans that keep telling me that Wirtz is not shining because of the system, but never gave the same leeway for someone like Odegaard last season when they witnessed with their eyes that the system of Mikel Arteta wasn't helping him. And I said in the beginning of the season that having Martin Zubimendi would release him a little bit forward, and we saw that today. So I need people to actually, when you analyze a player, also look at the system, as you guys are saying. Like you want to analyze Wirtz, you want to analyze Odegaard. You also have to see what the coach is asking. If Martin Odegaard is being asked to drop deep and play like deeper, you cannot say now criticize his creativity because it's not happening. It's the same. So basically, that is the reality. That the talent is there. He was asked to drop and get the ball from Saliba and Gabriel. Yeah. And now people are asking him to be the 10. And I said that is wrong from Mikel Arteta. Because you can see that the guy can make
he did that today, though. There was times today where he dropped back.
Times. How many times he received the ball in the half turn ahead of the center circle?
Well, I hear you, boys.
That's one of the people who said that Zubimendi is a downgrade are idiots, because Zubimendi allows Odegaard to play in a freer role. He's now picking up the ball from Saliba and Gabriel.
But we don't need to pretend like he wasn't, that he wasn't actually kind of off the pace last season. Like
we're moving like Partey didn't.
Yeah, like the things that and the
situations to why he was off the pace. Like obviously, a lot of the points that are being made are absolutely correct, because Egal knows it's me and him done plenty of shows on Zubimendi, and I said one of the things that he's going to bring is allow the sort of midfielders to be further forward, whether that's Rice, whether that's Odegaard, whether that's someone else, whether it's Eze, obviously now that we've signed him, because what Zubimendi does is he likes to receive the ball from the centre backs, and that's kind of where Partey sometimes did like, not that he couldn't do it, but there were times that he just didn't, and you had to bring that creativity to drive the ball forward. Whereas with this season, yes, every player is going to drop back, even the striker. There's going to be times that Haaland drops back as well. But what we're seeing now is there's a lot more attacking freedom given to whoever is responsible for that role.
I think that's because of the positional change. The change has been, it's no longer 2 8s. It seems to be the person who's playing in that role, be it Eze or Odegaard, is allowed much more freedom to drift across each side of the pitch, where Odegaard last season was never popping up on the left flank, ever. That was Declan Rice popping up on that side.
If you watched it tonight, you were playing more 4-2-3-1 tonight than 4-3-3. It was more of a 4-2-3-1, which enables a 10 to be a 10, as opposed to when you're an 8, you're box to box and you're up and down. So it's, I always remember
he's
Thierry
made that
Henry
change since the Newcastle second half. I think like one of the things that turned around that Newcastle game was he switched the formation from 4-3-3 holding to 4-2-3-1, and I think since then all the teams look much better.
Yeah, listen, I get that, and look, I think sometimes as well, I always remember listening to Thierry Henry talk about Wayne Rooney. I think Thierry Henry may have just retired or maybe just doing some punditry. And he said the one thing about Rooney he loves but hates at the same time is that Rooney will track back, and you'll see him at left back sometimes. He's gone with a runner and he'll run around and he'll help the team out in all these areas. He says, but then he'll run back, help the team win the ball back. He's involved in the build-up play. He's run left, he's run right, and then he's in a position to score and it comes to his shot and there's not a lot of power in it. And he's like, it's because he's exhausted by the time he's shooting, because he's just been running. And there's an element in that as well, where if Odegaard's back and then he's up and down and he's here and he's there, and after 10 minutes of running around, he's trying to have a shot from the edge of the box, maybe that shot isn't going to be as good than if he's a little bit more conservative, a little bit more stuck in a certain position. And that's easier when you have better midfield players behind him. So he can do what he's absolutely best at. And look, he shined today. He was amazing today. And I felt that had Trossard and Gyokeres maybe buried a couple more chances, there wouldn't have been those nerves at the end, and you'd have maybe all enjoyed his performance more. But once that second goal went in, I bet you all feeling very relaxed. Like, oh, we can actually now, because if you conceded late, it would have kind of undone all of that hard work. Bradon, obviously you're someone that has been highly critical of Mikel Arteta. Today, a lot of rotation, which I know you've been asking for because he plays too many individuals into the ground. You did it. You performed well. You got another victory. Do you feel like your season, including tonight, is now starting to really come together?
Yeah, definitely. We've definitely got the squad there, Tel. There's no question about that. You look at that bench, you look at even the players that were stood at the sidelines are out injured. You know, you got to think that they're still to come into the side as well. So we've got a quality squad. It's just about how the manager uses it. And I thought he used it perfectly tonight. Absolutely perfectly tonight. And, you know, at stages of the game, I thought we were a little bit complacent. You know, you pointed it out yourself. I think, you know, a bit more clinical edge in front of goal. We probably would have won that game a lot more comfortably than what it ended up being in the end. But I never, even those Olympiacos play very well in the second half. And I think, you know, a lot of people have to give them credit for that, because I thought they moved the ball very well in the second half. I never really felt like we was going to lose the game or end up drawing the game. I always felt like we'd go and win the game. And that's kind of the change that I felt, like personally, in Arsenal over the last sort of 2 games. And it is a change that's been implemented by Mikel Arteta. When you think about it, like these boys have pointed it out, and, you know, if Saul hadn't pointed it out, I was quite happily to do this. I think the manager has to take a lot of credit. A lot of credit. And I don't say that very often, right? But Martin Odegaard, tonight was all about Martin Odegaard. Martin Odegaard was absolutely sensational tonight. Sensational, right? However, I do slightly disagree with some points that are being made. I think the issue with Odegaard is we all knew the talent was there. And that's why I found him such a frustrating player to watch at times over the last 2 years, because he is quality on his day, but he wasn't having his day often enough. Now, I think the change and what's happened is he's been given the freedom to move about, to go where he needs to go, to pick up these little pockets, to come and drop deep for the ball. Tonight, when he was dropping deep from the ball for the ball, he was turning with space and instantly trying to play a killer pass. The amount of times he was trying to thread the ball through to Gyokeres, you know, some players, Tel, are just not zonal players. And the issue with Arteta over the last 2 years is he wants all these players to occupy their own zones. You stay in this zone, you stay in that zone. I think what we've seen definitely towards the end of the Newcastle game, and definitely tonight, is like these boys were saying, a lot more freedom given to these players. And if he continues to do that, yeah, I'll be very happy, because I genuinely think you will see better performances from Odegaard, better performances from Eze. And although it's not really clicking at the moment in terms of scoring goals and putting away the chances. That will come. But like over the last 2 games, we've created a lot more chances by just simply by allowing players the freedom to go and do what they need to do. He was absolute quality tonight. The
Do you know
only
what it is, Brandon? Do you know that? Do you know, like when we first initially moved from the 3-4-3 that won us the FA Cup, and then we changed our 4-2-3-1 when Emil Smith Rowe came in, and then in January we got the Odegaard loan deal. That's what I want to see, because I'm hoping that Arteta, because what Arteta does is he has started to implement all of his sort of football that we've kind of seen evolve, throughout his sort of footballing tenure. And the one thing that I wanted to see this season was, will he go back to that 4-2-3-1? Because the amount of freedom he allowed the attackers to have then, and the free-flowing football, the amount of goals you're scoring, the Spurs game comes to mind. That is the perfect epitome of that attack in symphony. Especially the Emil Smith Rowe goal, the Saka goal when he came in, and there's Xhaka just playing the ball straight over. That's what I want to see more of, because the amount of freedom he gave to that system is what this team is absolutely designed to do. When you've got Eze there, when you've got Odegaard there, when they kind of come into synchronization, they start free-flowing. Because today we saw Saka on the left, we saw Martinelli going to the right, Trossard switching over, Gyokeres, all of that. That's what we need. We need to confuse the oppositions without confusing ourselves. And if he can do that, and he can get the harmony right, we don't want.
Okay, so here's the thing then. Brandon comes in. Sorry, Brandon, but you come in. To Brandon, you saw the manager this season. Arsenal, all the pundits are saying that Arsenal actually in the Premier League are playing the best football, the most consistent football currently. We saw Liverpool, yes, they were getting the results. Brandon, not after the next bad result, a draw or something, you just throw your toys out of the Prem and just start, maybe give it time a little bit. Because it looks like, because it looks like the manager, maybe he didn't have the tools to do what he wanted to do. We actually saw Martinelli today. Yes, he scored, but many times today Martinelli would put his head to the ground when Gyokeres was wide open twice. You could have put Gyokeres 1-on-1. You could have put Gyokeres 1-on-1. I'm gonna doing this. So to be honest with you, I like what you said, Brandon, about how he's giving people freedom and all this stuff. Maybe he's doing that, but maybe not every game it's going to work your way. He's not going to win every game. Nobody will fucking win every game of football. It's not going to happen. You will.
You know what's crazy though? You know what's crazy though?
It will be up and down, Brandon.
Let me just push back on that, right?
There will be Odegaard trying to thread the pass, and it's not working. There will be a shot that will hit the post. These things will happen. That's what 100%. I want to say.
Look, Mo. All season this season, right? I wouldn't say I've thrown my toys out the pram. I've been here week in, week out, and I said that all I want is for this manager to take the handbrake off. I've seen it. We've got this. I've said on multiple streams, Arsenal have the best squad in the league. We do. We have the best squad in the league. It's all about how the manager uses it. I didn't think in the first couple of weeks, definitely at Anfield and after Manchester City, I didn't feel like he was using the squad to its full potential. Now we're starting to see him using the squad to its full potential. And if he continues to do that, I'll be a lot more confident that we can go and win a trophy this season. I'll be a lot more confident that we're going to win many more games. The biggest problem with Arsenal last season was we drew too many games. And unfortunately, when you see... Yeah, hang on. When you, it's not just about come on. It's not about Moreno
as well.
It's not just about. Hang on. It's not just about Moreno or Havertz being up top. It's the fact that we kind of played within ourselves, right? And after Man City and after Anfield, I was seeing a similar style to what we was playing last season, where it was kind of very within ourselves, not creating enough chances, not testing the goalkeeper enough. Over the last 2 games, I'm watching us testing the goalkeeper, creating multiple chances. Yeah, all right, we're not putting them away, but that will come. Victor, just real quick as well, I want to talk about Victor Gyokeres, right? Because a lot of people are going to get on his case because he's not scored in a few games. But I actually think Victor Gyokeres over the last 2 games has he's transformed the player that he was in terms of what he looked like when he first came in this Arsenal side to what he looks like now. The way that his work rate off the ball, the constant runs, the constant threat, the strength on the ball as well. Yes, his finishing's not there yet, but I think the more that he plays with these players and the more that he links up and understands where these players want to play the ball, and they understand where he wants to run, he will get opportunities. He will score goals. So I'm very confident now, looking at Gyokeres, that he's going to be a top quality
He
goal
needs to
scorer.
score. He needs to score.
He does.
But don't you
He
feel,
needs to
boys, that
score.
like this Arsenal team, like if you just kind of look at, we have yet to play our first choice attack yet this season. We have not started a game with Eze, Saka, Gyokeres, and Odegaard behind. Can you not see kind of like the flashes and the hints that like
Yes,
everyone started to pick up form at the right time, and when they come together, this team is. I feel like West Ham is in for a spanking this weekend.
Someone assumed, but you're right, Anton. Sorry to interject and talk over you, but it's right, and this is why, again, just as an outsider, when I saw almost a towel being thrown in after a draw against City, there's no way we can win the league. There's no way this is going to happen. And I know it isn't my club, and I joke about being on loan, and I don't have an emotional connection, but I could see it brewing. The same as the Liverpool situation. I get there's problems right now, but I think some Liverpool fans are very emotional because it's their club and they're going in. I'm seeing Arsenal fans wind them up because they want to kind of, again, because you guys want Liverpool fans to throw their toys out the pram and put more pressure upon their team. I get it. Although I'm a Man United fan and I'm not solely completely neutral, I have no dog in the fight at the moment because of how bad my team is, and I can see this. And I just feel that Arsenal fans need to get behind your team, be supportive. I mean, I don't care if you hate Arteta, right? And I'm not addressing any of you here. The RAF stuff this week, hilarious. The newspaper article stated it was 2 years ago, but every Arteta outer, every journalist, the fact that pro journalists at the Champions League press conference are asking him when are they coming in, what's going on, just shows you what I've spoke about so many times on the terrace. You get headline readers. They read the headline. They don't read the actual story. And I did some research on it today. Do you know that over the span of 25 years at Manchester United, Fergie brought in people from the military. It's documented he brought them in around 15 times to do different types of talks on communication, talks on bravery, talks on leadership. So this is when, and again, I don't care about, but he's won things, so he's allowed to do it. That's just such a ridiculous excuse. All these little marginal gains. It's like, I don't know about you boys in your day-to-day job. Some people love a little training day where they do some role plays. Some see that it's no benefit. But from a company's perspective, if Sal, Ash, and Mo get no benefit from it, but Brandon and Trimless become better salespeople because of it, it's worth it for the company. Does that? Because they don't make anyone get worse. Does that make sense? So it's these marginal gains, and it's all these little things. This is where Arsenal fans have got to come together and go, do you know what? Is having a dog at the football club really that big of a problem? No, let me just focus on the football. Ignore the outside noise. Stick by your football club. Stick by your team because you're going to need it this year. But you've got a very good team. You've got an amazing squad, and you could have a very special season. But I think what you need to do is when there's adversity, I think you will need to come together as opposed to knocking heads. There's just an outside. That's not a dog, right? That's a rat, isn't it?
Oh, man.
Look at that little thing. I want to see a dog. I want to see a dog. I'll show you a real dog. I'm joking. Beautiful. But what is it?
I'm just saying, big up to the dogs. Every club should have a dog.
Let me guess. His name's Win.
What is his name?
Name's Tango.
Bango. I lost my dog. I lost my dog. Well, I didn't lose him. I knew where he was. I was just waiting in the woods. He went and chased it. He likes playing with the deers. He was chasing deers today. I don't know. And he came back about 20 minutes later, and he couldn't walk. He was exhausted. Big up Rocky. He doesn't want to hurt them. He just wants to play with them. Like he just literally he plays with this. He's not a baby no more. It's fully grown. This is one deer in the woods we walk in. They're friends. They run around chasing each other. It's lovely. I'm glad his hunter instinct hasn't come out of him because that would scare me. I've got a few super chats today. I'm going to speak to Ash. Obviously, still got to speak to Cal. We haven't heard much from Trimless yet as well. This year says Odegaard was amazing today. Rachel is spot on. He was fantastic. This year says Mo silently thinking these arrogant pricks talking about bringing on Saka, Eze, Timber, and Rice as subs when I have to be happy with Dumfries and who? Esposito. How did Inter get on this week? Did you win yesterday or lose?
We're above Arsenal on the table.
I don't know.
Yeah, did you literally read the table during your pre-match whatever?
This is, or maybe
when Arsenal come to San Siro, they will lose the game again. I promise you.
Are you playing each other again?
Yes. And Liverpool.
Actually, can't wait for that, man. That's gonna be
Interesting.
fun.
I like it. I'll still say that if it's an Arsenal Inter final again, I'll pay for you to come over, Mo. We'll do a big Football Terrace watch along for that.
But no, Mo, this
or
time
maybe-
different, bro. We got no God now.
Yes.
Did you say Norgard?
Did you just say Norgard? Did you just say?
Hey, Norgard's a baller.
He
All
did,
right.
yeah. The fact that you've got a midfielder as good as him, I know he's had a couple of injuries, but he can't kick a ball. That for me is where I just think I would die for someone as good as Norgard in my midfield right now, and he can't get on your
You
pitch.
guys can have Mikel Marino if you want.
I take.
Whoa,
I'd take
he's
him
a
up.
baller. We
No,
need him.
I wouldn't get rid of him.
He struggles. He's struggling in midfield right now.
No.
I thought he was easily our worst player.
Yeah,
today.
no,
Bro, every
Mikel
time
Merino
Marino
is kind of like
No,
iffy, to be
I'll
honest.
defend
I'm
that.
not gonna super chat.
Moreno is our McTominay, to be honest.
Yeah.
Ash, what you saying, bro? What you saying, Ash?
I'm gonna head out
Well,
to
Cheers, Mo. Thank you, bro.
Cheers, Habib.
Yeah, no. Well, obviously Newcastle played a game today, which went under the radar.
I didn't know you were on early. I literally was looking for your game because I Arsenal on TV at Barca on. I was sitting on this screen. I was like, I'll put Newcastle and see what's going on. Couldn't find it, and then checked, and you'd already won 4-0. I didn't know it was on.
Yeah.
early.
It was an amazing game. We were away. Obviously, we couldn't be at the Union ground because their ground doesn't meet UEFA's Champions League regulations. So we had to play at Anderlecht Stadium, which is about 5 minutes from where they are. So it's not really that far, but. No, it was an unbelievable game, to be fair. It was actually a really professional performance by us. I'm actually really surprised, especially after the Arsenal game. I think everyone was a bit deflated after that, and then suddenly we just had this performance that, like, Nick Voltemada looked unbelievable. Like, his hold-up play, his ball play, the way he passed it, it's like, yeah, he's everything that I've been saying about in season, and he's just showing it. Obviously, Andy, he basically got us to get one pen. Elanga got us another pen. Gordon ended up scoring both of them, so hopefully that can give him some confidence. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I wasn't expecting that because it's actually our biggest win away from home in the Champions League as well. Which, I mean, isn't that hard since we're not exactly in it that much, but we'll take it.
Well, I said last night that when Liverpool lost, like, away games in the Champions League are hard. You get anomaly results like 4-0s and things like that, and teams away from home do win every match game, but on the balance of things, their away games are hard. Even when you're playing teams that you're superior to, they're hard. You got the away fans, teams are up for it. European football's a little different from England because you can't be anywhere near as physical in terms of the fouls and that. Yeah, so well done to you guys. What game did you watch tonight? What games are you watching tonight?
I had the Arsenal game and the Barca PSG game open. So
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I don't know where all our City fans are tonight. None of them have turned up.
Where are they anyway?
By the way, raise your hand if you're perfect in the Champions League after 2 matches.
My real team hasn't lost. We haven't lost.
God.
One sec, sorry. No, I hear you. Let's do some more of these super chats. Can you guys please discuss what's happening with Gyokeres? A lot of fans are saying he's being isolated on purpose. What's your views on that, Cal? Do you feel like he's being isolated?
I don't think he's being isolated. I just think he's getting better and better every game. I'll agree with that, but he's actually not what I thought he was. I thought he was faster than he is. I think in this game especially, I think Odegaard created quite a few opportunities for him to kind of beat his man and get a shot on target. But I think for the last couple of games, he's not that fast, and he's also kind of, his first touch hasn't been great. So he's kind of knocking the ball away from goal and not being able to get his shot off. And I just hope that's a form thing. Isolated on purpose, I'm not really too sure what that means. I like for the first couple of games, especially when Madueke was playing, we weren't finding him. But right now, I think we are finding him more, and his hold-up play has actually been good. To be honest, I think he's doing it. He's playing pretty well. He just needs to score the goals. To be honest.
You know what? To add to that, I was a Sasco fan, but people need to realize the entire summer was a saga for him. not only just like mental pressure, but also he didn't have a preseason. Yes, he played like 1.5 games, if anything, and that does have a toll. We can see in Isak, your fitness does take a little bit of time to get back into. And yes, you can do individual training, go to the gym, run, all of this sort of stuff, but that doesn't mean match fitness. And that's kind of what it is. Like, as you see the progression of like Gyokeres from the Newcastle game to this game as well, I'm actually seeing him. Before I was like, wait, is Gyokeres actually even playing? Because you just didn't know what he
100%.
did in the game.
Yeah, that's what people are like kind of not paying attention to, like sort of the details of this. Like Brandon was pointing out like a lot that what he looks like now versus what he looked like at the start of the season. Like he's running the channels. He's starting to look a little bit more like the Victor Gyokeres of Sporting, just without the goals. And I feel like once those goals start to come, he's going to be a little bit.
All you need a striker to do to begin with is a knock on the door. As soon as that door breaks down, he will get the goals. Like you can see, he's in the right places. He's doing the right things. He's pressuring. He's getting like physically better as well. So I think it's just a matter of time until he explodes. And do you know what? We don't need him to explode when the team's performing. We need him to explode when we can't get those goals. And we need someone to knock on that door and break it down. And if he can perform in those games, I don't think any of us care.
100%.
Yeah, it's
I expect him to do well against, you know, some of the lowest side tables. Maybe he mirrors what he did against Sporting, because, you know, with Sporting he kind of buried the lower division teams, and well, not the lower division teams, but the teams low on the table. But that's the games we need him for. that's been our biggest. That's our biggest struggle.
On the Gunners therapy, like Gyokeres scores goals in bunches, so that's why his numbers get like so. Yeah, he might have 3 goals so far this season, but like he could play West Ham, bag a hat trick, and suddenly he's got 6. That's the type of player that Gyokeres is.
I agree with a lot of what you've all said, and I think his hold-up play was good today. I think you're right. He's probably not as... Again, I watched him a lot last year, but then it's... The thing, perspective is there. And maybe he's running against slower defenders than what we're seeing him run against this year, so he doesn't look as quick. But I do think one thing, I feel that he is snatching at opportunities. I think he looks very tense. I think... He scored a couple of goals, but I almost feel, you know, that expression of you're trying too hard. I think there's an element of trying too hard at times, and that sometimes makes his touch a little bit off, or there's that effort where he created a really good half yard of space. Last season, he buries that, but it flies over the... By the way, it wasn't that far over the crossbar. It carried on getting higher, but it wasn't that far away. But I think he just needs to relax a little bit. I learned to do some surfing once on a holiday, and it was something that made me really laugh, because have you guys ever watched Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Forgetting Sarah Marshall I'm thinking of? Yes, it is. When Paul Rudd is trying to teach the main dude character how to surf. And as he's standing there, he's like, do more. No, do less, do less, do less. Until he's just laying there. And he goes, that's not enough. Do more than that. And it was funny because I watched the scene. It was mildly funny. And I tried surfing. That's kind of how it is. It was like, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Relax more. And there's this element of when you surf, the more you relax, the easier it is. Ice skating's the same. So I used to play a bit of ice hockey when I was younger. Rollerblading's the same. The more you relax, the easier these things are. And I feel like Gyokeres is in this. He's got to just stop being so tense. But you'll probably find you guys winning more and the fans relaxing a bit, plus a couple of goals will just ease him in a little bit.
Do you know
but
I'm a bit disappointed by the way.
For you. Sorry?
Like, if we got that penalty against Newcastle and he buried that, I reckon Gyokeres would have had at least two goals since then.
Essentially, yeah.
I think that was like it would have been like a mental like switch.
Yeah, I agree with you. This here says this about Odegaard. AJ says, well, maybe he was still recovering from the foot injury. Our fan base sometimes does the most. Odegaard injured the ankle twice, cut him some slack.
Yeah,
that's fair. You don't think someone should play when they're trying to get back to full fitness, Trimus?
No, but if my man's stating it as in like he's still carrying the knock, like it's still hurting him if he's playing.
But we know Arsenal have done that because White.
I know that's what I'm saying. We do that though. This is the issue, bro. We do that, and then players struggle to get back, and then we're like, "Oh, what happened to him?" Bro, you rushed him back. We did it for years.
Well, we literally didn't have the guys last season.
We literally
I think
killed
last season was
Santi Cazorla by rushing him back. We do
Oh,
this.
goodness. The thing is, you're not killing Odegaard because the only reason why he's missed this season was just his shoulder twice. Like it wasn't even his ankle. This one. So it's like you're bringing him back. It's like obviously it's not exacerbating his shoulder, his foot.
He got injured. We rushed Saka back. Got injured. Right. We rushed.
Well, yeah, but you guys overplayed Saka. which is with a reason because he's an exceptional talent. But Saka was like, let's face it, he was starting every single game, playing 90 minutes as much as he can.
Yeah, I think those are problems of the past now. I think the squad is so big now that we don't need to.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that doesn't exist now.
Yeah,
like we literally
squad.
We're not starting Saka. We're subbing him off games. Like he's gonna be fine.
Yeah,
we're not playing Odegaard
when we needed to win. That shows you everything you need to know this season.
Yeah.
I think that's a big. Again, I think AJ's probably right. There's an element of recovering, but when you didn't have a stronger squad, you're in that space where you're rushing players back. They're not at their best. Fans get on them. It's a knock-on effect, and you can, you guys have got massive riches this year. There is an update actually from your manager in relation to Gabriel, where he said that he should be okay. Again, these are little things. Should be okay, but you're able to take him off because you've got Mosquera.
Mosquera on the weekend.
Let me ask you guys a question about Mosquera. I see a lot of Arsenal fans. It must be said that a lot of them are Arteta outers. To be fair, like I always like when I see people write things, I then go to their Twitter page and then I search certain words in the search box because I like to see what else they like, and because there's normally a correlation. Do you know what I mean? Like for instance, at United, if someone's a big lover of Sancho, you can bet your bottom dollar they hated McTominay and hated Rashford. Like they almost go together like fish and chips. Why do I see a certain percentage of Arsenal fans really not taking to Mosquera? Or am I wrong to think he's been a good signing so far? I mean, what is that?
No, he must be. That's the edges of the. That's like even Arteta out is like Mosquera. These guys are a different breed. They're on the absolute edge of the fan base. I haven't seen anyone talk shit about Mosquera.
You know what the Mosquera one is? It's an ego. It's I have to be right because a lot of people wrote him off when he came in.
I haven't really heard.
People hated the signing.
Like the main person was Lee Gunner, right? Like he was the main one saying he's rash, he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that, right? But the reality of the matter is, you've got to also put context with talent. You can't expect the talent that you see at Valencia isn't always going to be the talent you see at Arsenal. It could be better or it could be worse. But when it comes to potential buys, when you're doing it like this, even with William Salibas and stuff like that, you've got to put them into the situation they're coming into. At Valencia, it was a bit of a shit show. It has been for many, many years. They haven't been the Valencia that we know of. And, there's been a lot of injuries to their backlines. That's why he's been introduced. So sometimes what he does is deemed as a mistake, or it's deemed as being rash, or it's deemed as being inexperienced. And, whether he's got the talent has always been there. He's been playing for the U21s. He's been highly, highly rated in the Spanish setup as well. Now when he's come in, he's in a much stable situation, a team that's going to win, trying to win things. And that's always going to give that player a confidence. He's next to Gabriel, who's a leader, who's been one of the best defenders in the Premier League. Now, how highly you put that on the list is always going to help him. He's next to Timber, or obviously when Benjamin White comes back. He's next to Calafiori, who's also competent as well. In front of him as well, he's got, a competent midfield. Whereas at Valencia, a lot of that kind of becomes... You become the focal point, especially when you're the talent in that squad. And that's kind of where it comes down to.
To be honest, I still have a problem with that because I don't know, like you watch these guys and you're much more well-informed than me. I don't really care what he did at Valencia. He's here now and he's been excellent. Like every time he's come on the pitch, he's been great. I mean, he did one misplaced pass.
One bad half in his Arsenal career.
And it wasn't even a bad half. I felt like it was just.
It was a poor half.
He was a bit. I think he was just a bit, unlucky for the occasion. Newcastle's one of the harder games. Newcastle's like one of our hardest games to play in the season.
But he was better. He was better at Anfield though. So I'm not.
And he went to Anfield and he kind of dominated. So for me,
if people are turning on him that quick because of that Newcastle half, then it says a lot about who you are.
It's one mistake in like what?
To be honest, if people are turning on any of our new signings, I think it's ridiculous.
It's been fine.
We were in the group chat.
The one who conceded the goal, but Mosquera conceded the corner and got hooked. So
if anybody's like criticizing any of these 8 new signings at the moment, I think it's a bit whack. Like I've been seeing in the group chat, Negative Dan, big up to him. He was saying like a lot of the fans in the stadium are already getting on Gyokeres' back, and I'm like, that's the problem. If you want these players to succeed, get behind them, especially if you're in the stadium, because it's like they're human beings. It's a mental aspect to this game. If all of a sudden, like as Terry's saying, he seems a bit tense right now. If the crowd is getting on his back over and over and over again, it's going to get more tense. So if you want, like, you know what I mean? Like I hate the whole
We need to
concept of-
adopt a big club mentality of like give a player some time. Like even when you look at Man City, when you look at Liverpool fans, when you look at some of the more successful, even some United fans back in the day, you know what? We're not going to write the signing off. We're going to give them a season to embed because they're coming into a new system, which is a lot more technical,
our fan
tactical.
base is too desperate. That's
Yeah. Which I understand. We haven't won for a while.
It shines in that regard. One other player I want to mention tonight before we end the show. It's probably gone unnoticed because the goal came late and there's Odegaard being rightfully praised, the manager, the squad's being discussed. Tonight, Bukayo Saka made it 17 GA in 19 Champions League appearances, 17 goals and assists in 19 Champions League games. That was his 11th goal in 19 Champions League games. There's something about this young man in this competition. Very, very special. I'm going to go to Ash on this first, who's obviously not an Arsenal fan, but he's a very special player. He's still sort of finding his feet after that really bad hamstring injury and a slight one at the beginning of the season, but he has a knack of putting the ball away or creating chances. I mean, he should have got an assist really as well from a great bit of work where he cut the ball into Odegaard. Just a wonderful save. But Saka just seems to have a knack of doing well in the Champions League.
Look, I mean, Saka's just a big game player. He has been for a very long time. Just maybe not necessarily on penalties. It's never going to live that one down. But he's only going to get better. I think having the squad depth that Arsenal's got is going to create more competition. Like, bear in mind, you've got to think how good he's been and hasn't really had any competition for his position. When Noni comes back in, it's going to push him on even further. It's the same with how Nick Pope's been with us. He's been absolutely unbelievable because we got Aaron Ramsdale, which, as obviously Arsenal will know, he's an incredible keeper. So having competition to fight for these positions that they're in, it pushes people on to do better. And Saka's obviously going to be, as long as he stays fit, he's going to be a defining factor in the title race and for the Champions League. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think everyone knows how good Saka is. He's not someone like Foden. Foden's amazing in the Premier League. When he goes to international, his level drops. When Saka goes to international, his level stays. So Saka's just one of those players that, yeah, I think at the end of the day, everyone knows how good he is, and he gets into probably every single team in the Premier League starting lineup.
Well, except for Liverpool, probably. But
yeah,
I don't know. Salah's dropped levels this season, so
Yeah,
it could be an
no,
argument.
but you know what? You know what this is telling me though? Like, we're seeing Saka in glimpses, and even in those glimpses, he's amazing. It doesn't take him long to impact games. And just the fact that every single rival fans compare any right winger or like left winger sometimes of any quality that he starts putting up together some good runs has to be compared to Saka. Palmer's compared to Saka. Foden's compared to Saka. I heard Quest compare Estevao to Saka. It just tells me that Saka is the standard of what that position is, and everybody wants him. Like as Ash says, like probably only Mo Salah starts over him in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's. I mean, in the right wing, it's very hard. It's. I think for the past few seasons, it's just been Salah or Saka is the two. I don't think there's been many that have came too close in that respect.
I think Saka's world class. People want to say you need to win a Champions League to be world class or the Prem. I don't think so. I think he's shown he's levels above so many attackers in the league and in the Champions League. I think he's just been too consistent for too long. And him coming on and scoring that goal to kind of settle us down is exactly that's the difference between a good player and an excellent player. He comes on, he makes a difference, he scores the goal. And he's done that for us for years now. And even, to be honest with you, for the past 2 years, I actually don't really see that many comparisons to Saka anymore. I think most people have kind of conceded to the fact that he is just one of those players. He's not normal. He's not one of the guys. He's not just someone who's just a good player. He's world class.
He is.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree with you. I think he's just he's weird, as you say. There's always a reason to want to put him down. And I see, we have Don that comes on the show and he always makes me laugh. Like he's always got to find a reason to like have a dig at him. But that's always a telltale sign of a brilliant player. From being a kid, every time Scholes wasn't brilliant or every time Beckham didn't didn't score from the halfway line. I remember friends at school having a dig. It's always the same. The better players are always the ones that get that huge level of criticism and everything else.
Nicholas Jackson.
But as you say, I just think he's phenomenal. And look, he carried an injury for a year, then had a massive injury. He's still finding his feet, but he is still picking up a nice little cameo performance there, a goal there, being influential. And I think there's one thing that's a little sobering that maybe rivals haven't really thought of, is that at some point soon, Saka's probably going to hit full gear again. And Arsenal...
He's also no longer going to get doubled, Terry.
Well,
they can't double him anymore.
Okay. This is the thing, right? Arsenal haven't had, in my opinion, a fully functioning, fitness-wise, and fully firing Saka for the better part of 9 months. I do think that player is going to come back. And when he does, I think he's going to rain fire down on a lot of people, especially people that have been doubting him. So, look, love to get your views.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, just before you end up, if we have this Odegaard playing with a fully fit Saka and Eze starting, I'm sorry, we win the league with that. If the team functions if the team functions at full capacity, the way Liverpool are looking, the way Man City are looking, the way our squad depth is, I think
you guys win the Champions League.
I think we win both.
That's a big.
You win both.
That was everybody just kind of just drop a bomb.
But in fairness, Josh, we are set up to win a Champions League.
Come on, here we go. I don't want to fence it in. Are you guys winning it? Yes or no?
You know what? I'm here to win it, man. We're winning it all.
Winning it all. I love it. I love it. AJ here says, thanks, Terry. They scapegoated Mosquera for the Newcastle goal when Gabriel was 80% to blame for the goal. There's a proportion of the fan base that are always waiting to jump on the backs of players. I do agree with you. I mean, Gabriel was largely at fault for he was in the wrong position, and you knew he was by the way he tried to get the foul.
Just jumped on the floor.
Well, he did the right thing in that. I don't actually blame him for what he did in that circumstance, because he had the issue you've got is VAR would, even if it was given in real time, VAR would have overturned it. But that's what defenders have done for a millennia. Yeah. Keepers are the ones who still get away with it. Now, when they make a mistake, they wait for a little contact, they throw themselves to the floor and scream, and they nearly always get it. But yeah, that's the thing sometimes when one player makes... I remember a very famous goal United conceded. I think we were winning against Chelsea away. We ended up drawing. And Memphis Depay gave the ball away. And then somebody else could have made a tackle and missed it. Bad bit of defending. Keeper could have got the cross. Weak shot went in. And everybody went on Memphis. And I'm sitting there thinking, I know he gave the ball away by the corner flag at the other end. But I was sitting there thinking, I saw 4 other mistakes afterwards. I can't put it all on one guy. And I felt that way for Mosquera. It was an awful clearance. Gave away a corner. But if Gabriel had stayed in the right place, because, they always say that if an attacking player can see your shirt number, you're in a little bit of trouble. And if he'd have stayed in the right place and that ball got cleared, nobody would have ever spoke of that bad mistake again. So he does deserve a proportion of the blame and criticism, but I did feel a lot of people went in on him. And the fact is, I watch Arsenal fans online. I just kind of watch the discourse when he comes on, compared to when Kivior got respect in the end. But when Kivior used to come on, when Holden used to come on, when anybody else other than Gabriel or Saliba were on that pitch, you used to see it on socials. You'd hear it in the stadium. There would be a nervousness. I don't see that anymore, which I find interesting.
I'm relaxed when he comes on.
I think
he came on today and I was completely relaxed. Love it.
I'm relaxed when anybody comes on, except for Marino, but he scored the other day.
I hear you. Listen, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please go and check out Don Hussam's channel. He's live now. I'll go and support my brother over there. Everyone who's tuned in this evening, a big thank you to each and every single one of you. We're back tomorrow with more Killing the Game. We have Six-Sided. What else am I doing tomorrow? I'm on the United Stand, 8 p.m. again tomorrow night, talking all things Man United. So a busy day ahead of content. Looking forward to seeing you all. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all. Let me just check that redirect. He's going to go to Hassam. I don't want it not to. It is. Go and support my brother over there now, and I'll see you soon. Peace.